So this is the 2.2 graphing calculator part of the notes. So here it says you're going to set a good viewing window. So what we're going to do for this problem is we're going to graph f of x equals 0.2x cubed minus 5x squared plus 38x minus 97. Now we're going to use our graphing calculator to do that. So go ahead, you'll bring it up. There we go. And then here you're going to go to y equals, so then you have your graphing calculator up and you can be working on that one. So here we're going to clear these. There we go. So I'm going to have to keep looking. Okay, so our first one is 0.2. So you put 0.2x, and then here we're going to go to the third power. So you just press the caret key and then to the third. Then we have minus 5x squared. So I have to arrow over. So I do minus 5x squared. And I do plus 38x plus 38x. And then I have minus 97. Okay. Now the idea here is that we want to make sure that our window is perfect. Okay, we want a good viewing window basically so we can see the entire graph. Now I'm going to go back to my default. For my window, usually that works, but sometimes it doesn't. Now remember, to get this window, you just press the window button. Okay? Okay, let's go ahead. I'm going to press graph to see if I'm able to do so. Whoops, there was an error there. Let me check it. Oh, there we go. Make sure for your X-min, you might need to make sure that it's smaller than your X-max, and then you should be good to go. There we go. Now, if you look here, right, you can't even see much of your graph. So we can tell this is not a very good viewing window. So what we need to do is we need to just play around with our window so we can find the best viewing window to see our entire graph. So here, you're really going to just mess with what you can. Sometimes you might have to go increments of ones. Maybe you want to go up the increments of 5s or 10s. It just really depends. Let's say if we look at a graph, right, it looks like we need more of this bottom area. So that means we need more towards our x-axis, the positive, and more of our negative y-axis. So we're going to only change those two things, okay, so we can see our entire graph. So I'm going to go back to the window. Now the right-hand side of our graph, as you can see right here, this is our max because we're getting positive. So let's say we go up an increment of 10. So let's say we do 20 here. Now I don't know if this is going to work. If it doesn't, then we would increase it again. Your scale, you can leave it as 1. It really does not matter here. Okay. So let's say we also need a little bit more on the bottom here, right? This is our y-min. So once again, as I change this of an increment up by 10, I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to go from negative 10 to negative 20. And let's see if that will work in this case. So we press graph, and let's see if we can actually see it this time. There we go. Now notice that this, if we look at our function, it is a cubic. So this is what our cubic should look like. This is the shape of it. So we have two humps here, right? A maximum and a minimum. So now I can see my entire graph. So the window we chose was just right. So on your homework, which is going to be page 103, numbers 4 and 6, what you need to do is you need to write what your window is. So we're going to say x-min because we have to write our minimum here. So the x-min that we chose, and if you need to go back, we can always go back to window. We chose negative 10 as our x-min, so we're going to write that down. Okay. Now our x-max. So what we chose for our x-max was a 20. So we're going to write 20 there. And make sure you label your min and max. Just writing negative 10 and 20, that's not going to do anything. We have to show what our viewing window was. Okay, so now we have our y-min. So remember that just means our minimum. Once again, you can go back to the graphing calculator. We set it at -20. And then our y max. And if we look here, we have 10. So the first thing is you want to figure out your viewing window. So your x min and your x max, as well as your y minimum and your y maximum. Once you know what that is, then you write what your min and max are for both your x and y axis. Now the next thing you will have to do, and you will have to do this on your homework, you need to sketch a graph. Okay, sketch the graph of the function. Okay, so remember, sketching, it means that it does not need to look perfect. So I need to just go back to my graph, and I just need to make sure it looks like this here. Okay, so that means I go here, boom, boom, and then I have arrows. There we go. So remember, sketch just means it does not need to look perfect. It just needs to look kind of similar to what we have. So then this is what you would do on your homework. So you will write your viewing window, and then you would sketch the graph. Make sure if you have any questions that you can always email me, or you can come in before or after school if I'm available. This will be 14 hours. This is for thieves. I don't need it. I'll just use, yeah.